French boy.
In this world, respect is earned with martial arts. Weak martial artists have strength of tens of thousands of pounds, capable of cracking boulders, and the strong ones cut off rivers and split mountains. There are even martial kings who know everything and can travel across the universe. Martial arts decides your fate as well as your life and death. The weak is limited, but the strong is down in the world. This is a world with strong rules. People's statuses are decided by the levels of their cultivation of martial arts. Each faction fights for the title of the strongest. Only the strong ones have the right to survive, even if you are from the same clan or faction. If you are weak, then you would be bullied and kicked out without mercy. So, in God of Martial Arts, again, this is brought to you by Cloud Studio, the production company behind it. Currently up to 312 episodes. At the series, but then neither here nor there. So we're gonna go ahead and preview this. So in episode 1, we get to see our main character Lin Feng being beaten by his cousin. So his cultivation is weak. He's a weak martial artist, and he's getting basically beaten to death. Then at the same time, they break down the different levels of spirits and weapons and the things that a martial artist can obtain to become stronger. And then our main character, Lin Feng, dies in a car crash, possesses the body of Lin Feng, and then he proceeds to now live in the life, live through him. In the reawakening, he unlocks a secret technique for cultivating, and his spirit beast is a snake, and there's also a demon spirit or dark spirit that allows him to overcome a lot of cultivation issues later on in the story. Lin Feng basically then goes on to procure the rights to challenge for leadership in his clan. Then also, I believe he ends up having to I'm trying to remember. I started reading on the other titles that I recommended this week, and I actually finished Panlong. But in the art, there is, I believe in this one, God of Martial Arts, he ends up meeting with the leader of another clan that he ends up, or a school actually, sorry, a school of martial arts, which I think he ends up, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the correct title. He ends up going and learning different martial arts from their school, obtaining martial weapons, tools, pills, and everything to help cultivation along. Then he ends up getting into a battle with what is this guy's name? I can't remember the guy's name. But he's a villain of this other faction, like the evil faction, and he ends up coming in contact with a sword spirit that increases his strength too, and he gets so strong, it's crazy. To where it's currently at and where I'm at, he's become I'm mistaken, it's the same series. He's becoming you know what? Let me double check. I don't want to make confusing because I read a lot of titles, so I don't want to mix this up with one of my other titles that I'm thinking of. So I'm gonna go check on it real fast just to see if I'm correctly remembering the arc here. So sorry, guys. You know what? Yeah, I was confusing this. This is a different story. I was confusing that story. I'm so sorry. So, in this storyline, he ends up getting the rights to the clan. The clan is then betrayed by a another cultivator from a different group or different school. He ends up inheriting the the clan the prior leader. He gives him a ring. In this ring, it has it's a spatial ring, and he ends up taking him to a secret area in the clan where there is a bunch of techniques and weapons and resources that he then ends up using to try to bring glory back to the kingdom. But at the same time, he's fighting for the country. At the same time, they basically maintaining two faces, right? One of that of eventually getting revenge for his fallen comrades, and that of still fighting for the kingdom and the emperor and all of that. So that is God of Martial Arts. The series is really amazing, and it's also just again from the MangaToon app. So again, all 5 titles are coming from the MangaToon app on this episode. Then let's move over to our next title, which is Forged Success. So in Forged Success, this is almost the same thing. So let's go ahead and get into the description. So elevation of the status, elevation to the status of a god. Lao Jing, now a humble slave, was born as the eldest son of a wealthy family. Due to his family's decline, the kidnapping of his sister by a powerful force, he can now only be stepped upon by others. However, heaven never seals off all exits. The ancient book left by his father reveals a secret divine technique, giving the reader immense power. But what is behind this power? This is a contest against fate. Oh, is it louder than the mic? Oh no. Okay, hold on. Thank you for that. Let's get these levels down here. Is that better? I'll turn it down even more. All right, there we go. Some peaks. Should I rerun it for the God of Martial Arts, or should I just continue to keep going? What do you think? We're already 8 minutes in. Well, I'll keep going, then I'll just come back and just do it again, just for the sake of audio sake. Okay, so I'll reread that. So, elevation to the status of a god. Lao Jing, now a humble slave, was born as the eldest son of a wealthy family. Due to his family's decline, the kidnapping of his sister by a powerful force, he can now only be stepped upon by others. However, heaven never seals off all exits. An ancient book left by his father reveals a secret divine technique, giving the reader immense power. But what is behind this power? This is a contest against fate. There you go. So, in Forged Success, our main character, the technique that he actually learns from the book is that of turning your body into a weapon and cultivating it through taking damage. So, as he is a slave to the family, the Lao family, or was it the Jang family? The Lao family, because of what happened with his father and him having no backing, they turn him basically into a punching bag. But because he discovers this technique, matter of fact, let's go ahead and look at the first episode. It actually leads to him becoming extremely strong and then fighting his right to freedom. And then he starts to go out to cultivate to try to find his sister. He then ends up joining the clan that currently is housing his sister, and learning the secret as to why his sister is currently locked up. His sister has a rare blood trait for cultivation that somebody's trying to use as part of a weapon to make themselves stronger, and he ends up basically vowing to get vengeance on that person and the family clan, as they've taken advantage of all there. So here's he basically gave up on the technique right here, and this is how he found out that there was a secret in the technique, which then turned his body into a weapon, basically. Uh, but later on in this series, the main character, after developing more techniques and getting more abilities, ends up meeting with a person who is of a higher realm. So actually, the whole point of martial arts and training and cultivation in a lot of these mangas is to ascend, to become a more immortal. The pathways to ascension had actually been blocked. It gets reopened because of him. Then he basically moves on to become, even greater at his tactics of cultivation and getting stronger and learning new moves. And now he's currently working for this different clan that's in the higher ascended realm. It gets amazing. Like, the fighting in this is dope. This is the one I was confusing the stories up. I was so sorry. So when I was talking about him getting a sword spirit, that was this story, Lao Jang. Lao Jang gets a sword spirit that is actually a piece of the Slayer or Slaughter King from the Demon Knight race. And he's basically now he's in the middle of helping to help her fight to get revenge against the people who betrayed her. So there's so much going on in this story. He ends up getting married to someone, but then he has to, because of his status, he ends up being ascended without her. So that ends up kind of weighing on him. He's kind of sad. So he checks in on her every once in a while when he can from from the ascended realm. And then there's it's kind of a love triangle. There's another female that's involved that is trying to cultivate so she can catch up to him, so she can now have kind of monopolize his time. So it's a good story though. A lot of again, the fighting in it is amazing. The storyline is good. Again, a lot of revenge, a lot of betrayal, a lot of corruption. All right, so now we're moving on to our third title for the week, and that title was Spirit Sword Master. So Spirit Sword Master, let's go ahead and read this. The description kind of tells you most of it, but I'm still gonna just give you my takes on it. So setup: killed by his best buddy. A top-notch swordsman wakes up finding himself turned back into his teenage self, restarting again from the weakling bullied by all. He is determined to seek revenge and cherish the girl who once sacrificed her life for him. In Spirit Sword Master, like I said, he gets killed by his friend in the future, but when he comes back in time, he actually has all the knowledge of everything that's coming, plus he actually maintained one of his magic tools, which is helping him to cultivate faster in this current realm. So there's certain things and challenges that he's running into that he didn't run into originally back when he went through life the first time. So some situations he's prepared for and some he's not. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first episode here. In the first episode, if I'm not mistaken, he shows up to the family clan that he was promised to marry. So Cloud Water. So yeah, the Water Clan. So he's comes there to talk about the marriage proposal, and they're like, well, because again, in their mind, at this point in time, the main character, Cloud Shu, I believe it is not as strong as he's going to be, right? So he's considered to be a wasteful character. He basically was this marriage. They don't really want the marriage to happen, but they want to save face, right? So he comes in and he gives them a proposal. He's like, hey, look, I don't want to marry her. I want to marry this other girl. And they're like, okay, we'll take that, because this other girl is just a maid in their house, while she's the promised child who's supposed to be, super strong, and her cultivation is unmatched between the two of them. She's the stronger of the two as cultivators. And so he makes a promise. He's like, okay, look, not only that, but we'll sorry, let me go back to that. So he's like basically, so yeah, so not only will I, denounce our marriage proposal, but I'm also going to challenge you for the right to annul this whole thing, right? So to show you that I will be stronger than you, and you made the wrong choice, kind of situation, right? Later on down the road, There is she has a very rare cultivation technique that's also harmful to her and others that she doesn't know how to control yet. Uh, this clan of female warriors that basically come and take his fiance, so they can help her cultivate. But there's someone inside the clan that basically is turning her into a puppet, and he's not aware of it at this time. But as as the story progresses, he's still getting stronger, gaining more followers, getting more of a backing, because he knows of what's coming and what things are before most of it's happening. So he's accruing resources and he's accruing strength at the same time. So that's it for Spirit Swordmaster. Moving on to the next title, and the next title is so many titles. I'm sorry. There we go. Next title is Panlong. So I actually just finished Panlong a couple days ago. Basically after I made the video, I went and kind of binge read the last two titles in this, which was Panlong and Wudong Qian Kun. So in Panlong, I'm just going to go in the description. A young man got a ring which can call the dragon. A story about the leveling of the young man and his mystery dragon clan. Going through millions of difficulties, he conquered all the hard times with his friends and finally gained his glory time. So I just finished it. Again, this was one of those ones where it's he's not really weakest, but it's just leveling up, right? He's learning, he's still studying, he's still growing. So it's a kid who's a part of a clan that has dragon blood. They tested him for the dragon blood warrior, and initially there was no reaction, so they assumed that he didn't have the bloodline, right? The bloodline trait to turn into a dragon. So he then says, okay, then if I don't have it, can I go to school? So his dad's like, all right, fine, yeah, I'll go ahead and send you to school. So he goes to school, goes on his way. In his training, he comes across a ring. In this ring is the spirit of a ancient cultivator. So somebody who basically was really powerful, but got in a situation where they had to sacrifice in order to for their consciousness to stay alive. They had to sacrifice their body, and then they put themselves inside this storage ring, and he finds it. Then the Master Delin, which is the spirit that was inside the ring, basically helps cultivate him in his magic training. So he is a wind user and an earth magic user. So he's a dual elemental magic user. He then ends up going to school, practicing to get strengthen his laws of magic and earth and wind techniques. Master Dylan teaches him the earth, while at school he learns from wind teacher. Then he puts all the information from both parties together to become even stronger. Later on, his father is attacked by an assassin who was sent after him by the Radiant Church. The Radiant Church is also secretly responsible for the death of his mother. So he's now up for revenge twofold against the Radiant Church, but unfortunately he's not strong enough. So he then ends up getting into fights, surviving those fights, going on to get stronger, practicing more techniques, befriending a really strong magician in the fighter, the Slaughter King, and he befriends him because he's taught the technique for cutting and sword use, but he uses it in sculpting of rock sculptures. He then makes a sculpture for the master, and because of that, the master's like, all right, this is my guy type thing. So he basically kind of just watches his back, because he's like, no one else can do this. So if I lose him, then how am I going to be able to benefit from anything? So he basically only saves his life because he can benefit from him. There is a love interest that gets involved, but then his heart gets broken with that love interest, and then there's another love interest, and then there's also his little brother that's involved. They later on go on to train and get stronger. The again, so like I said, it's a double revenge story. So revenge for the father, revenge for the mother. Then there's some other people who get involved who end up helping because they're all out for just either out for a good fight, or they're also out for revenge. Certain people, they're just like that, right? But this is also a good read. It's action, fantasy, adventure story. Again, it's completed, so if you want to read it in its fullness, you can check it out here on the MangaToon app. So our next title and our last title for the week of June 1st, 2020, recommendation is Udon Shankun, and this is the story of Lin Dong. So let's go ahead and read the description first. So Lin Dong, the unfavored borderline disciple of the small town family, went through countless difficulties and dangers. He defeated evil people one step at a time, and eventually transformed into a hero who saved the world and reaped the passion and an inspiration story of love and friendship. So I actually haven't finished this. This is still currently being released, so it's not even actually done. It's 183 episodes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even do Panlong, so you can see the art style here. Sorry, let me skip back for you real quick. So here we go. Kind of give me the setup. So here's his master, Dylan. She's getting attacked, and then what she ultimately has to do is, like I said, seal herself into a ring. And there is the artifact that she gets sealed in. So then later on, little Lindley Brock, is it Barra, finds the ring and uses it to become stronger. And then he tells his uncle, which is just his father's best friend and kind of like his right hand man, telling him the story of ancient Barrocks and their bloodline. So I'm sorry, I forgot about doing that on earlier. Okay, so now back to Udo. All right. So in this story, Lin Dong is seeking revenge against another person of the main branch from the family, but he's weak, right? And he knows he's weak, but he wants to bring back the glory and the fame to his family name, to at least his branch family. He ends up finding a spirit master as well, which then helps him to cultivate techniques that he wouldn't even know about if he didn't stumble across this, because he has I think it's called the Abyssal Order, or the I can't remember. I think it's called the Abyssal Order. It's basically like a seal that allows you to absorb energy from opponents and in nature to strengthen your own cultivation. Then after that, he learns high level techniques from the clan that he then allows him to go into become a better fighter. He ends up getting into a fight for a tournament with the person he's trying to get revenge against, his father. They then end up being put on another team, this is actually currently where I'm at. They end up getting put on a team together to try to bring glory to their clan. So basically, there's the clan leader's like, look, I'm staying out of this until one of you wins. We're not backing either of you, but whoever wins, might makes right. We're supporting the strongest person, the one who's going to bring fame to our clan's name. And so that's currently where we are in this story from where I'm at anyway. Again, though, there's a faction out there that's teaching his little sister techniques in secret. And he doesn't want to bring her on the journey because he thinks it's too dangerous for her. But she's out here learning like assassin training, so he kind of missed the ball on that one. He probably should have brought her with her, but that's neither here nor there. So let's go ahead and kind of get into this, just so you can kind of see it. So here we are. It's showing that Um, the power, basically showing the power of the main antagonist for our main character Lin Dong. So this is a Lin Tian, I think Lin Tian Jung or something like that. Lin or something. I can't remember his full name right now. Let's go to that right here. I think his name is said here. What is this guy's name? I cannot remember his name right now. Ah. Okay, here it is. Lin Long Tian. That's what it is. I couldn't remember it, but that's the guy who basically he beats his father, and after he beats his father, his family, Lin Dong's family, basically gets even further lowered in clan status. The clan's status of his family's branch of his branch of the family gets demoted again, and leading to the animosity that he has against that guy for beating his father. But there's more to it as to why they're lowered, but he ends up basically kind of restoring some glory, but he still has the grudge against the other guy. The other guy also has a grudge against him because he's like, how dare this know nothing commoner be on the same level as me, while that know nothing commoner is basically fighting him with willpower, while that noble bloodline personnel is actually cheating, and still is losing. So that's just one thing to kind of take an aspect of, but it's a good story. Like I said, the action is good, the animation well, the depictions are great. I like the story. Again, as you can see, I like the story in general because it's pretty much the same storyline in all 5 titles that I recommended today, in this series. So I'm gonna kind of go back and redo the first one because I was advised that the audio really couldn't be heard over the music. So I'm gonna go back and redo God of Martial Arts. I apologize that if it seems like I'm redoing it for those who watched from the beginning, but I gotta I want to re-hit on that point there. So let's open that up and read that one more time. So, in this world, respect is earned with martial arts. Weak martial artists have strengths of tens of thousands of pounds, capable of cracking boulders, and the strong ones can cut off rivers and split mountains. There are even martial kings who know everything and can travel across the universe. Martial arts decides your fate, as well as your life and death. The weak is humiliated, while the strong looks down on the world. This is a world where the strong bullies the weak. People's statuses are decided by the levels of their cultivation of martial arts. Each faction fights for the title of the strongest. Only the strong ones have the right to survive, even if you are from the same clan or faction. If you are weak, then you will be bullied and kicked out without mercy. So again, I'm kind of just gonna sum this one up real quick. Action, fantasy, time travel, adventure, reincarnation, secret techniques, combine 2 spirit traits, clan murdered, revenge for clan, glory for empire, mastering a technique beyond level of recommendation, people not knowing your power, people dying because of it. Also, if you weren't aware, the MangaToon app actually has a feature of when you complete certain tasks, you can then collect points, which then allow you to open chapters that are locked to read them for 3 days. So it gives you 3 days to read a title or read a chapter before it gets closed. So there you have it. Those are the 5 titles that I recommended for the week of June 1st, 2020 on the MangaToon app. I hope you enjoyed. So with that, thank you for tuning in. Signing out. Remember, as always, stay salty.